You know how we often ask the question, what do I need to do to be a better leader? Or what do I need to do to lead my people right? This law we're going to explore today basically covers that question. And it basically covers the mindset that you need to embody to lead your people appropriately. Welcome to day 3 of the three. Okay, that's 6. Welcome to day 3 of the book review series, and we're reviewing this book here, which is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. My name is Urban. I'm the host of the Leader Circle podcast, basically a podcast for the next generation of leaders. And I'm currently running the book review series. And this book is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. And today we're talking about Law 3, which is basically the third law. And the third law is basically called the law of process. And we're going to dive into it shortly. So this law, Law 3, the law of process, it basically states that leadership is developed daily and not in a day. And I'm saying this because I know I mentioned that it's a mindset shift that people need to have, that they will not be the best leader in a day. They will not be a transformational leader in a day. You will not be a John C. Maxwell in a day, right? So because leadership is a process, and leadership, your leadership ability is particularly developed daily. And I think the insight that stood out for me, I have basically 2 things I've learned from this book. The first one is that leadership is like investing, and investing basically always compounds. And it's the idea that investing in your leadership ability every day builds your ability in the long run. So you might need to invest in yourself every day. So it's answering the question, what do I need to do every day to be a better leader? What do I need to do every day to ensure I'm growing in influence? What do I need to do every day to ensure that my team is developing? Because more often than not, the evidence of your leadership is captured in the people you're leading, right? What am I going to do every day to ensure that I am improving and I am growing in my capacity to lead people? I'm growing in my capacity to influence people. And that's basically what this law talks about. It's the idea that every day you have an opportunity to invest in your leadership capacity. And then in the long run, at the end of your life, 20 years down the line, every daily investment builds up into profit, builds up into a capacity that you've genuinely developed in yourself. That would influence, let me use the word influence. That would influence everything around you, because like law 1 basically says, your leadership ability is the lid of your personal effectiveness. So if you lift that lid, you lift up your effectiveness. And if you are lifting that lid every day, you're lifting up your personal effectiveness every day. So it's the idea that if I invest in myself every day for the next 20 years, my results are going to compound, and I'm going to, in the long run, develop my skills. And it's the mindset that people need to have, that it's a marathon. It's going to be for the long haul, and your leadership investment into yourself. So it's not going to happen in a day. So the idea is simple. Read that book, right? Be confident, start that project, right? Have those conversations with people, right? Do everything you need to do every day to ensure that in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, in the next 7 months, those leadership skills begin to build up. Try negotiating with people. Try leading a presentation. Take a stab at it. Fight the fear. Everything you do builds up on that capacity that you need to have as a leader. And I think that's the first lesson that stood out for me. And basically, I think on my end is to answer the question, what do I need to do every day to strengthen my leadership capacity? What do I need to do every day to ensure that I am invested in my leadership capacity? What do I need to do every day that I need to be better at? What's the word? 1% better every day. I think that's the goal, to be 1% better every day. And basically that's what the law of process talks about. Your leadership development doesn't happen in a day. It happens daily. So we need to invest in ourselves daily. So the next lesson in this book is the 5 phases of leadership growth. And he explained the 5 phases of leadership growth. I'm going to read from the book, just heads up. He explained the 5 phases of leadership growth as the phase every leader goes through in their journey of leadership development. And when I talk about the 5 phases, you understand that it's not a yearly thing. Those phases are defined based on each skill that you are developing as a leader, right? So think about you're developing your communication skill, you're developing your ability to resolve conflicts, you're developing your ability to have foresight, you're developing your ability to be empathetic with the people you're leading, right? And that will help you need to contextualize the 5 phases. And I'll just go over it, right? So the first phase is I don't know what I don't know. So it's your first 5 phases of growth as a leader. And the first phase is I don't know what I don't know. And what that basically means is it's what we call unconscious incompetence. It basically means you don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. You're not good at it. You don't know what you might not be aware that you're bad at communicating, and you're bad at communicating. You might not be aware that you're bad at casting the vision for your team, and you're bad at it, right? So it's I don't know what I don't know, and it's that phase where your incompetence is not you're not conscious of it, right? The second phase is I know that I need to know. So this is where you come to a place where you see that there is a gap. I know that I have a challenge, and I know that I need to know something to help me with that challenge. But you don't know what you need to know. But you know that there's a gap somewhere. There's a gap in my communication, there's a gap in my speech, there's a gap in my relationship with people. There is that gap. You are aware that there is a gap. So you know that you need to know something. Right? The third phase is I know what I don't know. So it's to say you've come to a place of learning. Now you know what you don't know, right? So you see the journey is I don't know what I don't know. I know what I need to know. I know what I don't know, right? And the fourth phase basically says I know and grow, and it starts to show. So it's basically saying that now you know what you need to know, and you're starting to develop and inculcate those things in your daily life. You're putting them to practice. Now it's beginning to show. So the fruits of everything you've been learning from books, from conferences, from seminars, from watching your favorite YouTuber, or listening to your favorite podcast, you're beginning to learn things, and it's beginning to show because you're putting those things to practice, right? And the fifth phase is I simply go because of what I know. Now this phase is golden. The way he explained it is I think it's what you call second nature. Now you've gone from a place of you don't know what you don't know. You've come to a place of phase 4, which is I know what I know and grow, and it starts to show. So you've come to phase 4. Phase 5 is that place where everything you started practicing becomes second nature, right? For some people, they are comfortable speaking to a camera. I'm not, right? Now, when they begin to continuously practice and begin to embed those things into their daily life by intentional practice, improving themselves, catching themselves when they're going off the radar, off script, and all of that, and then they begin to intentionally do the things that they need to do right, it comes a point where it becomes second nature, and then they begin to live it out. And that's the fifth phase, and that's the peak, as he mentioned. You go from it, when you get to that place, it's no more a case of you are conscious of what you don't know. It's now a place of unconscious competence. It's now a place of the thing that you're now doing has become part of you, that you do it and you live it out naturally, right? So this is the 5 phases of leadership growth. And he spoke about the fact that you need to do everything you need to do at phase 3, or let me say from phase 2. Phase 2, I think phase 2 is that place where you get feedback. Phase 1 is that place where you don't know anything about the way you're doing things. Phase 2 is where you get feedback. Phase 3 is where you now begin to figure out what you need to do to get better. Phase 4 is where you begin to implement the things that you're learning daily, implementing those things you're learning daily, deliberate practice, intentional, taking feedback, taking correction, evaluating how you do things, getting feedback from people and implementing and getting better. And the 5th phase is where you're now at that place where you're at the master level, you're Jedi master level, and you can now begin to should I say teach people, or you can bring experience to the fore based off your journey so far. And these are basically the two things I've learned from the book, and I think about them in light of the fact that we shouldn't pressure ourselves to be good at something that we're growing at. What we should pressure ourselves to do is to ensure that we're getting better by 1% every day. And that's what I want to leave you with. When I think about the law of process, it's the idea of I need to be better every day by 1%, and I'm going to take daily actions, daily steps to be better at what I do, to be better as a leader, to be better as a person, at work, at home, with your spouse, with friends. Just make sure you're doing something to be better. So I challenge you to sit down. Sit down. I challenge you to sit down and basically evaluate yourself and ask yourself, what do I need to do every day to be better? What do I need to do every day to improve my leadership ability? What do I need to do every day to ensure that I am growing my influence? I am building positive influence with the people on my team. As I go through the 5 phases of leadership, so you've come to a place of you now know what you need to know, and now you begin to find out, oh, I know what I don't know. And then you come to a place, I know, I grow, and what I'm doing and what I know now is beginning to show. And then you come to the 5th level, which is the highest pinnacle of all things. It is the place where the thing that you know has become part of you, such that you've become, I think that's the word, you have become. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining. See you in the next chapter, which is chapter 4, which is the 4th law. Bye.